Happy Reference Friday, people. Happy Reference Friday. Run for your life. This is going to be very important. We'll go to Revelation. In Revelation, it's going to talk about judgment. It's going to discuss those important things that we need to know why we need to be running for our life, why we don't need to be worried about what's going on behind us, why we need to keep straight, look forward, press on to the mark, look for the prize. I'm going to show you the prize that you get, the good prize and the bad prize. Go to Revelation. Go to Revelations 20. Revelations 20, starting at verse 4. It says, and this is Paul talking, and I saw throne, not Paul, I'm sorry, John, and I saw throne, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received the mark on their forehead or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. 1,000 years. This is talking about the first resurrection completed, the millennium or 1,000-year reign of Christ and his saints on earth. Now, the thrones here are those, the saints are those that saints will have, providing that all saints will rule with Christ in some capacity as kings and priests. This is the prize Paul is running for. That's the prize that Paul is running for. Now, there's going to be two classes of people, eternal people, two classes of eternal people. I want y'all to listen to this. These two classes are very important. You got one, natural people will live from the future tribulation period through the millennium and then on into the new earth forever if they do not commit sin or rebel with Satan at the end of the millennium. Then you got the second people, resurrected people, who have part in the first resurrection, will be the eternal rulers of the eternal generation or natural people. The resurrected people will not marry or give in marriage, but the natural people who are alive at the second event and who are permitted to be subjected of the eternal kingdom will marry, have children, and carry out the natural program as God intended when he created Adam. They will live forever by virtue of the tree of life, not by virtue of a resurrection and change from mortality to immortality as with glorified saints. There's a difference between the two. Now, I want you to concentrate on the saints that were raptured. This is you if we're not in tribulation time right now, right? Now, During tribulation time, a lot of stuff going to occur. Some of them, uh, some of them got beheaded. It's going to be 6 reasons for their beheading: for the witness testimony of Jesus, for the word of God, for not worshiping the beast, for not worshiping his image, for not taking his mark upon their heads, for not taking his mark in their hands. They, the tribulation saints, lived, were resurrected, and resigned and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. So, if you're going through the tribulation period, the saints that went through the tribulation period, they're going to go through a lot. And they got decisions to make. If you hadn't been raptured, or God made it to where you had to stay, or had it, or destined you to where you have to stay, you got to go through this, the 7 seals of Revelation, 7 trumpets, the day of the Lord, the 7 last plagues. That is the tribulation period. You're gonna have to go through that. Well, frankly, all will not be raptured. All will not stay on earth. So we got to make sure that we're running for our life right now, that we are resurrected from among the dead, so we don't have to go to the tribulation. This is why you need to run for your life. Verse 5 of Revelation 20, it says, but the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. The wicked dead who were not blessed and holy, and who were not in the first resurrection. This proves 1,000 years between the first and second resurrection, or the resurrection of the righteous and the resurrection of the wicked. This proves between the first and second resurrection, or the resurrection of the righteous and the resurrection of the wicked. This is what it's talking about. This is the first resurrection. Now, we have to understand that when I talked last week on resurrection from among the dead, that's spiritual. That's saying, hey, you need to do better. You need to come off among the dead, because there's going to be a time where the dead won't rise until judgment. The wicked dead won't rise until judgment. The spiritually dead people that died will not rise till judgment. You will not be able to reign with Christ. The resurrection of the tribulation saints and the 2 witnesses. This is the first resurrection. In verse 6 it says, blessed and holy is he that has part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. All who have a part in the first resurrection are blessed and holy. The 1,000 years who will reign with Christ in the 1,000 years are the millenniums. I know y'all didn't get all of that, so we're going to break it down just a little bit more. I want you to understand Revelations is very tricky. You have to make sure that you are spiritually ready for. I am not perfect. You are not perfect. But Revelations is perfectly worded, perfectly written to a point where you have to be spiritual and you have to do your research to understand what's really going on. It looks like it hops around, but it really don't. It's trying to explain it in depth with us. Check this out. I'm taking a little bit of time to understand that we all fall short of knowledge. So I have to break this down, break it down, break it down, break it down to layman's terms. In verse 20, in verse 4 of Revelations 20, it said, immediately following the tribulation at the opening of the millennium, God would judge all non believers to come out of tribulation, those who took the mark of the beast and cast their allegiance with the Antichrist. This judgment is implied by the presence of thrones and the people seated on them who were given authority to judge. In contrast to the judgment of non believers from the tribulation, all followers of Christ from ages will reign with Christ during the millennium, including those from the tribulation who had not worshipped the beast or has his image, or who had not accepted the mark on their foreheads or their hands. These people, these saints are going to judge the ones that were spiritually dead and died. They're going to judge them after 1,000 years. They have their place. They have a assignment to do. I want to be the one that judged, not the one that gets judged. I want to be that. I don't know about you, but check this out. Non-believers from all periods of history other than the tribulation would not be raised for judgment until the 1,000 years are complete. The post-millennium resurrection will be the first resurrection of the group. In part, in partly, in verse 6, the phrase "the first resurrection" is used with a different reverence. The resurrection of believers at the beginning of the millennium to reign with Jesus over such people, the second death, eternal judgment, has no power. The second death has no power over these resurrected saints. But the ones that died non-believers will be in eternal death. The millennium reign of Christ and his followers is the utopia for which the world longs. There will be no war. The lion will lie down with the lamb. Lifespan will increase steadily and at a rapid rate. As in the early days of the Old Testament, the reason such utopia would be possible is that Jesus Christ will be ruling with a rod of iron, and there will be no allowance for rebellion. Each believer will be a co-regent with Jesus Christ, receiving awards and responsibilities in accordance with his or her level of faithfulness in the present life. Like I told y'all in the past, that's a level of faithfulness. Then you will receive that prize at that level of faithfulness. You will receive that responsibility at that level of faithfulness. Only thing you got to keep doing, you got to run for your life to receive that prize of faithfulness and that responsibility. So we can't be believing all these lies. So, because Christ's followers will have glorified heavenly bodies, each person will be perfectly suited to carry out his or her responsibilities. This is very serious, people. Very serious. And we do not have time to be playing around. We have to keep running this race. We have to make good decisions.